Welcome back. Today we are making this absolutely delicious lemon raspberry cake. To make our batter, we start off by sifting 1.5 cups of cake flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt into a medium-sized bowl. Once you have sifted all of that through, set it aside and then cream together 1/2 cup of unsalted butter and 1.5 cups of granulated sugar with a whisk attachment. You want to mix this on a high speed for 2 to 3 minutes until the mixture becomes lighter in color. Once the mixture looks like this, it's time to add in our eggs. I prefer to use egg whites, so I'm adding in 4 egg whites, but you can also add in 2 large eggs. You want to be sure they're at room temperature to help this really mix up properly. I like to mix it on a medium-high speed for about 1 minute, and I scrape the sides as I do this because I find a lot of times the butter gets kind of stuck there. Then it's time to add in 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon zest, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. That part I didn't record on camera, but I really like adding in the vegetable oil because it kind of lightens up the cake. Next, we're adding in about half of our dry mixture, mixing it on a low speed and scraping the sides as needed. And once our dry ingredients are mostly incorporated, it's time to add in 3/4 cup of room temperature sour cream. Once that's mixed in, we add in our remaining dry ingredients and mix on a low speed until just combined. Once your batter is all ready to go, you can pour it into your prepared cake pans. I like to use this recipe to make 3 6-inch cake layers, but you can also use it to make 2 8-inch cake layers. To prepare my pans, I just add a parchment round at the bottom and spray them with a bit of nonstick spray. To add a bit more raspberry flavor into these cake layers, I actually press some fresh raspberries on top of my batter before popping them into the oven. This step is totally optional though. While my cake layer is baked for about 25 minutes in a 350-degree preheated oven, I worked on my lemon cream cheese frosting. I'm creaming together 1.5 cups of unsalted butter with 1/2 cup of cream cheese, then adding 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice and lemon zest, along with 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Once those are in there, I mix on a medium-high speed until I feel like all those ingredients are properly combined, and then I'm slowly incorporating all of my powdered sugar. This is an American buttercream recipe, so it uses 7 cups of powdered sugar, which might seem like a lot, but you need a decent amount of powdered sugar to give your frosting the right consistency. If you want to add less powdered sugar, I suggest also omitting adding any additional heavy cream that the recipe calls for. This frosting can be made with a hand mixer or a stand mixer, but I recommend giving it a really good stir with a rubber spatula just like this to help get out any potential air bubbles and to give you super smooth, creamy frosting. And then it's time to assemble our cake. I'm adding a dab of buttercream onto a grease-proof cake board, which just helps keep the layer in place as you assemble your cake. I'm piping a very thick ring of our cream cheese frosting around our cake, and then I'm filling the center with some raspberry jam. You can also use my raspberry cake filling if you want to make it from scratch, but this cake already took a decent amount of energy, so I decided to take a little shortcut today. I'm smoothing a bit of additional frosting on top of that filling and then continuing to stack my cake layers. It's super important that your cake layers are at room temperature and are fully cooled as you do this, and that you don't add too much raspberry jam. As tempting as it is, if you add too much, it can tend to ooze out the sides as you try to decorate and frost your cake, and it just makes life a lot harder, so be mindful of that. Once our cake layers were stacked, I very carefully added a crumb coat around the cake just by spreading out the overhanging frosting and using a bit more with a small offset spatula. I chilled the cake in the freezer for about 10 minutes until the frosting was firm to the touch, and then I added a second layer of our cream cheese lemon frosting. Once it was smoothed with a bench scraper and I had cleaned up the edges with a small offset spatula, it was time to decorate our cake. I wanted to keep the decorations on this cake simple, so I decided to use a bit more frosting to pipe some small dollops on top, and then create a ring of fresh raspberries and little bits of lemon along with some lemon peel curls. I felt like it needed a little something else, so I also added a light dusting of powdered sugar on top of the ring of decorations. Then it was time to cut in and enjoy our cake. This cake really is so packed with lemon and raspberry flavor, it's perfect for a summer birthday, or really any summer day. I highly recommend giving it a try, and the full recipe is also up on Chelsweets.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you guys again soon.